Some of our best banter is always when we just hop on the call. So I'll just start the recording early.
Yeah, it's just been a wild start to the season. We've tried to do this earlier, even after the draft, but we haven't been able to put it together. But
I know.
I know, but now we have a three man podcast now. Well, two man, one woman.
Three person, you might add. We got guest speaker Alina in the house for this one. Say hi, honey.
Hi, hi.
Why
So
don't you kick it
we're
off, Commish?
we're 2 weeks into this lovely, lovely new season. And we've had some draft surprises. We've had some injuries. We've had some fun matchups, and we have some people probably pulling their hair out. So it's exciting. Let's get it going. So we thought we would start with a little bit of a team by team analysis since we haven't talked about any of that stuff yet. Then we'll go into some of the interesting transactions recently and finish up with some matchups and get this lovely year started.
Bingo, bango.
Bingo, bango. Should we
I'll
start?
I'll
I
just
mean,
pull it up right now. Why don't you
I would hate to start it at the bottom, but that's you, my friend.
started from the bottom and we still here. It's lonely down here. I'm not gonna lie to you. It feels like crap.
I bet you we both feel pretty shitty about our first picks. I don't feel great about Mahomes, and you probably don't feel that great about Allen either.
So far so bad. It's
Yeah,
we haven't really seen the talent come through. I don't know if it's been matchups or I don't know if you've noticed this too. It just seems like the NFL is slow going right now.
it is.
It's it doesn't have that like that joie de vivre, that you know, that spice that we've become accustomed to in the first couple weeks. I mean, we had a couple big comebacks and some things like that, but you look at the scores at halftime and you're just like, what the hell's going on right now?
We haven't had anything really big or anything like someone like throwing for like. I mean, Tua had that one big game, but like 400 yards and like five touchdowns. None of that stuff. No big really anything. So unless you're that
Right.
Puka Nakua guy who's just catching everything.
Puka.
Puka Nakua,
Dude.
who Devin spent his entire fund on. But hey, it's a different story.
Well, there was a stat that said that Cooper Kupp has never had a 15 catch game. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is you and Devin at 0-2. So who is going to climb out of that hole first is going to
Well,
be interesting.
maybe neither of us. You never know. When you're fighting for the bottom, you're clawing for anything you can get. And right now, there's just not a lot of daylight. I'm sorry, my computer's running slow. I'm trying to pull the rosters
Fine.
up right now.
You got a lot going. Fine.
But no, when it comes to my team itself, I feel good about everything except for my running back's not really coming through.
I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, you're a little bit because Gibbs hasn't done a ton yet. Well, now Montgomery's out, and you get some more Gibbs now.
Yeah, but still, let me see if I can.
Goddard's been nothing. London's been nothing.
Yeah,
Algiers a waiver wire pickup for you. So I feel
so
you.
bad. But it's one of those things that I still feel like I'm competing every week. I just kind of get shafted when it comes down to it.
Well, at least you're not Devin, who is lost his first round pick, Cooper Kupp, hasn't played it down for him yet,
Correct.
and has Deshaun Watson, who hasn't done shit, and that was another high pick for him. So he's kind of teetering as well. He spent a lot of money. He spent $65. There, bring it up. He spent like $65 of his money so far, I believe, on like Zach Moss, Puka, um, Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely picked up Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. We've all had him. So Devin's
At one point or another in our careers.
yeah. So Devin's kind of teetering too. I have to think that with some teams being really, really, really top heavy, that it's going to affect some other teams basically, and not and make him be like kind of all in the not top heavy, let's say, and
Sure.
kind of in the middle. So I think that definitely makes a difference for sure. I think you can see it in the rosters this year with the draft being the way it was.
Right. God, I'm just looking at it. The one thing that I have going for me, going back because now I have the team up, Jonathan Taylor, like if he comes back and he plays, it's going to change the landscape. I think what I need to do is make a play for a quarterback. I've got some feelers out there to a couple people in the league in terms of quarterback availability. And so trying to make moves, but definitely like Gibbs, White, Dylan Sanders, they're just like those mediocre, like borderline, they're not doing anything, but they're not droppable people.
Yep.
And I hate having people like that. It's like it's the Cortland Sutton effect. You keep waiting for that guy to like bust out, and he just never comes through.
Yeah, I think Russ is on his last legs over there. I don't think he's gonna make it past the next few weeks, probably. So that's a whole different story. So speaking of your quarterback thing, but
Let me
I mean,
I gotta pull this off because I've got
David lost Rodgers without getting anything out of it. So that's pretty tough.
That's true. So who do you want to go to next? I'll pull up the next roster.
I mean, I was at Devin's team, and then I was just kind of working my way up through the standings. I'm down to whoever you want to go to, but
okay, let's go.
Devin's team.
Let's go to Devin's team. By the way, Frank Jr. Jr.
It's really not that bad.
I actually thought that was you because the name is so clever and it's another Friends reference. And I got offered a trade from him the first week. And I'm like, oh, I didn't look. I thought it was you. I'm like, oh man, Commish is trying to capitalize real quick here from a misperformance. But let me share this up. Yeah, it's not dire in like it's not week 4, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's still kind of feeling out the league. I mean, Baker Mayfield's like a top 5 quarterback right now. If you think that's going to hold, then,
you should pick him up.
Pick him up. But then, yeah, the tough part about Devin's team is it's similar to mine. It's running backs who haven't panned out. It's your first round pick or a pick that you're expecting to be great hasn't played, and you're not getting the performance that you're wanting out of your quarterbacks every single week. So, I mean,
I just don't understand the $25 he spent on Mac Jones. I don't get it.
To sit on your bench, yeah, it's a weird pickup, and it's really capitalizing off of that initial. What do you throw? 54 passes?
Devin last week did $25 on Mac Jones, $21 on Puka, and $19 on Zach Moss. That's a lot of money spent in the first 2 weeks on players.
It's true. And I forget, I know that Josh Kelly was like a big commodity as well. I know that like I went pretty hard on Tyler Algier because I'm like, this guy's not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. I mean, it could be like a Gibbs Montgomery situation at that point. But it's so much money to lose so fast. And all of a sudden you're going to have $8 in week 10 and be like, crap, like someone bids 9, you're automatically out of your player.
I remember at the end of last year, I had more money than everybody towards the end. And I was just picking up guys just to keep them away from other guys. So they could use it later on like that too, not to throw too much strategy in there. But
there you go.
You can use it at the end to kind of block people too. So money's important. But
it's true. Oh, by the way, I just got a text message from Amir. He's taking a look at my trade offer. We could have the first real-time trade happen, which would be excellent.
And I just thought, let's look at Amir's team. Derelict your balls. Derelict my balls.
Who are you talking to?
So
Alina, cover your ears. Cover your ears, please. All you gotta do is say earmuffs, man. You say whatever you want.
Another solid squad. I mean, I don't know. He has good running backs. He lost Chubb, which is sad.
That
was painful.
That was grubby.
That was grubby.
Yeah. There are few things that there are few people, so to speak, that you don't want to see something like that happen to. And so much support came out for Nick Chubb after that happened. It just really made you aware about how he's done things the right way, how he just works hard and isn't controversial, and he just does his freaking job. And obviously, we're just playing fantasy sports here, but man, that was a real gut punch for the league, I feel like.
Not the best. I mean, he's still good. He's got Derrick Henry. He's got Josh Jacobs. Oh, shit. I have a job. People trying to get a hold of me. It
Wheeling
is
and
Wednesday.
dealing. He's got the Cincinnati combo who's yet to really produce. I mean, Higgins had the big week, and they're getting their
Burrow's been a
targets.
disaster. Burrow's been a disaster.
That has been brutal, and I think you have. Did you reap the benefits against OnlyFans with Burrow?
I may have taken down our league favorite only,
Ooh.
even though Dax Mahomes is scoring the most points. Oh my shit! My housekeeper's here. Give me 1 second.
Oh no!
Give me 1 second.
Avert your ears, listeners. Got this dead air. We use this time to thank our sponsors. Rusty's medicated bumper ointment, as featured in the hit Pixar series Cars, as well as Taco Bell. Looks like diarrhea going in, feels like diarrhea coming out. Thank you, Taco Bell. We'll get you unmuted. I had you muted just in case there was
dogs everywhere. So yeah, I mean, Amir's squad's good. Has the running back issues. I mean, has running back issues for that, but again, still not a bad squad. There's no team now. It's like this team's a disaster. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Have you noticed in the NFL? Have you noticed this trend where it seems like people are really embracing using two running backs?
Yes. I mean, how many workhorses do we have anymore? It doesn't exist anymore. Every single running back is two running backs. Doesn't matter.
I mean, my guy Rashad White had 17 carries, but you're not seeing 20 plus carries. You're seeing Derrick Henry getting 14. You're seeing his backup get 8, and then someone else with 3. People are really embracing this kind of Kellen Moore, dual preserve your talent. And, even Bijan Robinson, he started week 1 with not a ton of carries. I mean, Algier had far more carries than him. They're still meaningful touches when he's getting the ball in the backfield. But, now, especially with Chubb going down, do you feel like that's going to continue to be a common thing where you don't really know who's going to get, if your stud is going to get the bulk of the carries that game?
I mean, there's a few of them, but really you're right. Most of them are like, two guys splitting really like, 60-40, maybe 55-45 or something like that. But, you really got to understand that you're going to have competition with your running back, and you're going to lose goal line carries. You're going to have some guy catches or whatever like that, but it's definitely spread out. So I have to agree with you on that. You kind of changes your strategy too, because you would draft guys before like, oh, Najee Harris is the workhorse back. He's going to get 3 down carries. Well, he's not. Warren's getting a lot of carries, and you might want to say Warren's a better fantasy player than
well, they're splitting series. It's not just like the backup is spelling someone. It's a whole new thing. And, you wonder about all these contract holdouts and these negotiations and the valuation of running backs. And you're wondering if they're trying to preserve people for longer to say like, look, running backs have staying power. 26 isn't like the cutoff, like the DiCaprio cutoff for for running backs in the NFL.
Nice.
And I mean, obviously, McCaffrey has been a freak, and he has been for some time. And now it seems like he's really healthy and he's really producing, but he's not unbeatable. I mean, you showed that last week.
Let's go to Pasha's team.
Pasha or Pache?
Pache, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Pache is I feel his pain as well, because I have Justin Fields in Little League. Fields has been a disaster.
That was his third pick too, wasn't it? Didn't he go Jackson Fields?
Jackson Fields, yeah.
Maybe he started with that one too. Ooh,
Either
yikes.
way, it was a top 2 pick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's been a struggle. He's gotten good production out of Addison. DJ Moore hasn't done anything, but yeah, it's been really Fields that really has been killed him so far. Because Paul's just had close games. I feel like I beat him in week 1. I think he won this week, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well,
yeah,
everyone's won one except for me and Devin. Let's let's put that out there.
and me, well, somebody on the other side too, but we'll get there. But
um,
again, not a bad team. Kyle Pitts sucks. I was going to draft Kyle Pitts, and I'm glad I didn't because he's a disaster. Um, Pasha lost. J.K. Dobbins was able to pick up Gus Edwards.
mm-hmm.
So that's good. But again, another I think solid squad. They have 2 decent quarterbacks, and if Fields gets back to even anything average, he's got some running backs. He can put something together. But
I I remember years back where almost no matter what, my philosophy was go QB.
yeah,
Like when we draft.
yeah,
And that shifted, I'd say about 3 years ago, in terms of I saw how imbalanced my team was, and I'm like, oh crap.
yeah,
And this is the danger if your QBs aren't producing to start the season. All of a sudden, like you look at his wide receiver 1 as DJ Moore is tethered to his QB 2,
yeah,
all of a sudden you're in trouble. And then you have Joe Mixon, who perpetually is the highest volume, lowest producer on the face of the planet.
yep,
And Stevenson, who's was like billed to be this, absolute workhorse. And then in between the time we drafted and then they signed Ezekiel Elliott, and now Elliott's getting close to 10 carries based off of the philosophy we just spoke about. And
he
it's
doesn't
like,
look good either, though.
well, the Cowboys wouldn't have let him go if he still looked good. Like he wasn't that franchise type player that they're just going to hang on to, forever. And oh, speaking of which, it made me really happy. I don't know if you saw AJ Green retired as a Bengal. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But Elliott was just kind of this problem child. I don't want to call him a flash in the pan because he put together a lot of good seasons. But he's dispensable, and I think that's what New England is seeing right now. It's just like, he's just kind of a turd at the goal line. Like he doesn't have that burst. I remember 3 years ago watching him, and I'm like, every single time he gets hit, he falls forward for 3 more yards, and it was incredible. Like truly, truly incredible to watch him play. But now it's just like he's just kind of that dumpy, like falling over and doesn't have burst through the hole. So yeah. And now you look at the rest of the receivers, you got Godwin, who underwhelmed, and Addison, who's overperformed. Obviously the Edwards pickup is a big one given the Dobbins injury, but yeah, it's just more of these middling kind of people that you might see on the waiver wire in 2 weeks.
I think with Howell on the bench, he might have to look at trading one of those quarterbacks, which you may have been discussing with him. I'm not sure, but
I have not reached out to
okay.
My people haven't contacted Pasha's people yet.
Interesting. All right, let's go to Jose's team. I thought hurricane season was over.
I just lost to him last week. Doesn't feel good.
He was our first overall pick. Took Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
A little bit of a surprise.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe not.
I thought in 2 QB he was kind of the consensus.
I probably would have taken him too. So but hey, his team is solid squad. He got hurt by Garrett Wilson. I like Jose's team, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson got knocked back. He scored 2 touchdowns so far. He's hurt now, I think. So we'll see. Amon-Ra St. Brown is good. Hurts is good. Montgomery was a good pick for him. And, but he has injuries. He lost Gainwell. He's lost Montgomery. Najee Harris hasn't really performed at all, really. So he's down with Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. I like his team. Geno is not bad as a second quarterback. So I think this team has potential, to be honest with you.
Feels like one of those teams that just needs a couple weeks to breathe. Like you squeak out 1-1 and you feel pretty good. Williams is going to get healthier. Ideally, Hall is going to get like more of his legs underneath him. Dude, that split in Detroit is killing me. I can't believe Montgomery has like 40 carries.
Yeah.
I don't wish ill will upon people, but we were watching the Lions game, and I saw like Montgomery on the sideline, like stretching his leg
Huh?
or his back, and I'm like, thank goodness, just get out of here, you grub fest. Um, Another weird situation, the Philadelphia Eagles running back situation. I mean, Swift just put together that monster game. Who
Yeah.
knows what week to week it's going to look like based off of that running back thing we just talked about. I
Yeah.
feel like Gainwell is just as likely to be inactive as he is to put up 2 touchdowns and 90 total yards. Like it's so
And they
strange, but
have
you're right.
Rashard Penny too, who gets carries randomly in there too. So who
Right.
knows?
But I remember Josh's draft, and when he put together his wide receivers, I'm like,
Uh,
fuck. Like
his receivers are
this
really
is
good.
formidable.
He's got Gabe Davis as number 5. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and Wilson, obviously his stock is hurt, but he doesn't need a lot of touches to make an impact. I mean, he had a 70-yard touchdown. Like that was brutal. And in our league with the 40 plus, I mean, it's always going to be beneficial to have someone who's a game breaker like that.
I like his squad. I think he did a good job.
Yeah,
Let's go to
I
David's
agree.
team.
Let's do it. I'll move this here. You take the lead here.
So David lost Rogers, which is a big kick in the dick to start. He's going. He has quarterbacks. He had Garoppolo. He picked up Baker. So he's starting Baker this week. He had some good picks. The Brian Robinson pick has been really good. He didn't have Kelsey week 1. He had Kelsey last week and he won. He picked up the other Rams receiver in Tutu. I think he needs some work, but I mean his receivers Waddle, Keenan Allen, and Ayuk are pretty solid. Goff has been pretty solid. So I think he's got something here. I would pick Jose's team over this one. Maybe it would look better with Rodgers. Maybe not, but they make a difference. But again, another team that is solid, but I think needs a little bit of work around the edges, I think.
I concur. And I remember I was kind of looking.
His running backs are really rough. That's what the problem is.
I was looking at this team specifically in terms of like, hey, is there any way I can deal kind of a middle tier running back or an RB2 and try to get Goff? Like that was one of my thought process. I never sent anything, but I kind of looked at it as, Ayuk overperformed, and taking Kelsey with your first pick in our settings is just like, it's not a death sentence, but it's just like, if he doesn't play, you're screwed for that period of time because you're banking on the matchup value of him versus whoever tight end.
Yeah.
And if that's not available, then like, look at this, like next week he's got Goff and Mayfield, and like doesn't instill a lot of confidence, but and Waddle's banged up, and that kind of sucks. And I think he just picked up Thielen, who had a good week. But to me, this team is just kind of, it's destined for 8th place. Like I don't see it doesn't.
He probably has to move Kelsey, to be honest with you.
That's his best bargaining chip. And unfortunately, it's going to have to come at the expense of probably like trading with a contender who has multiple quarterbacks or someone who has multiple running backs to be able to deal. Oh, speaking of 2-0.
Well, my running backs, but let's go to our favorite, league guy with 2 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks, Mr. Jordan.
Oh boy, too many first.
So
too many.
He took McCaffrey. What else did he take? He took Tyreek Hill, McCaffrey, and Burrow as his first 3 picks,
which on paper is fine. I mean, it absolutely lines up. Hill is headed for something historic. So if he keeps up even 80% of that pace, it's going to more than pay for itself. McCaffrey has been cruising as the absolute feature, and then Burrow has just been, I mean, he's what, like the QB 23 or something, atrocious.
But amazingly, he still needs running back help.
It's true. I mean, outside of, and now Barkley's hurt.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna bank on Kamara?
Who knows what that's gonna look like based off of that, what we're just talking about with running backs. I mean, they'll ease him back in, and now Richardson's banged up. he's a cool player, by the way. I was
I wish I
watching.
would have drafted. I picked Jordan Love instead of him. I've liked rooting for Jordan Love, but Richardson's fun. I regret. Yeah,
Yeah, he is
yeah.
so cool. But now, okay, so he's got Baltimore with a concussion. Ugh. Um, we know that Minshew is more than admirable, but like Pittman's value is kind of tied to that and might
Who
go
does he
up.
Who does he play this week? Because he starts 1 and 2. He plays Pasha. He starts
Mm,
1 and 2. That's kind of crazy for having 3 first round picks.
I would love that more than anything. Oh my goodness. That would just make my
But
heart
Burrow's
sing.
been rough, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Burrow has been rough.
No,
So
nobody
four
really
points
foresaw
and
that.
25.
And
Yeah.
maybe he's just fighting through this calf thing that, we got to figure out. But got a home game, kind of a get right spot. I mean, obviously Aaron Donald's a menace, but the Rams aren't anything super scary. So
Dalvin hasn't done shit. I have Dalvin in a different league. He hasn't done anything. So I don't know. His running backs don't make me feel good.
for
Um,
for
neither
having
because one quarterback's hurt, one hasn't played well. His receivers are really good. But to
yeah,
tell you, I'm like, this is a team that had 3 first round picks. I'm okay. It's not to like.
I completely agree. And, you start looking ahead a little bit and, if the Niners just kind of run through the West, is McCaffrey really going to be featured in crunch time? That's why you're saying like he probably needs running back help, but that's something really scary when you have a team that, looks like they're really going to be top of the table because the Seahawks are underperforming. The Rams are the Rams. Um, the Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, they just had that epic collapse and they've been putting up like a fight. But if the Niners are, 10-1, what's going to happen in those last few weeks if they're talking about load management and all that garbage that the NBA deals with?
Ugh, that's my other. That's me. Let's go to Wong's team, who just texted me randomly about something else. But let's go to Wong's team.
Was he talking
So
about?
Wong had 2 first round picks.
He is two,
He had two. Yeah, two didn't boot is wrong.
two
He
to
had two
boot.
first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Great receivers. Again, running backs thin. He's like, he's got Pollard, who's been okay, but I think under. No, Pollard's played about 23 points and 19 points. It's been pretty good. So
Mm-hmm.
Pollard's solid, and then he's got ATN, who's been okay, one good week, one bad week. Mostert's been solid, but he gets hurt every single year, so
Mm-hmm.
who knows? And then yeah, it gets a little thin. Connor and Ford, and I don't know who the guy is, but I
There's
get yeah. The
Oh, go ahead.
receiver, the quarterbacks are good, receivers are good. So this is a better team, in my opinion, than Jordan's team, even though Jordan had the extra first round pick. I think Juan did a better job of it.
After 2 weeks, this is 100% the team, compared to Jordan's. And
Yeah.
to me, this is like there's one name on there that was a wild card that has ended up being an ace, and that's Calvin Ridley. And you know,
I
everyone kind
really
of
wanted him too. I
everyone
just
kind of
didn't do it.
passed, and there was you didn't really know just based off of how good Christian Kirk's season was last year, like how much he'd be featured. Well, now we know. I mean, next
They
year
got a
he's
lot of
probably
mouths to feed over there. It's
yeah.
always scary getting a guy who hasn't played in the NFL in a year and coming back, because you got the Josh Gordon stuff that once he came back, it wasn't the same. You lose the speed or whatever.
But
But
it also wasn't due to an injury.
yeah,
And I think that's the thing we all kind of dismissed. And I know I passed over Ridley for whoever I got as my
I picked
like
George Pickens
third
instead of Ridley.
receiver.
I picked George
Yeah.
Pickens, which is
And so Jefferson has been worth the top pick in like standard leagues, more than some. And to me, this is a playoff team. He made a really shrewd pickup by picking up Ford prior to the Monday night game with him being unlocked.
Mhm.
That's a really, I mean, could be a game
They picked up
changing.
Hunt today, though.
They did sign Hunt.
They signed Hunt today.
That's funny. I told Julia she got mad that she didn't get Ford but got Hunt, and I'm like, just wait, just wait.
I got Hunt.
Little one.
I picked up Hunt too. Speaking of me,
Um,
let's go to my team.
let's go to the feature. Let's get to the cream of the crop here. Did we miss
There's
anyone in the middle
two
there? Is it Strictly?
strictly 80s Joel. Yes.
I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change my team name. Not great, Bob.
I think my running backs are carrying me. I think that's without saying.
Kenneth Walker in the flex is very nice.
Yeah, I'd like. I mean, Cam Akers was died after 1 week, but I got Williams, so that's okay. Balances that out. Um, I only had Aaron Jones for 1 week so far, but not bad. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my team's okay. I think my receivers could use an upgrade. I'm not, I don't love anything except I love my running backs, but I think it's a pretty solid squad. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and to me, like top to bottom, Wong's team is better than this team, but it doesn't matter when you have the right matchups, right?
Yeah,
And so you move to 2-0, like I said, Kenneth Walker in a flex position, and now Kyron Williams, who's the clear lead back. I mean, those are, Kyron's a good pickup and Walker's a great draft pick.
mm.
Um, Jones, you hate hamstring injuries that are
Oh, the worst.
untouched
Yeah,
just because you never know how long that's going to linger. But you know what he means to that team now, which means when he comes back, he's going to be back full throttle. Brown has been a bit of a disappointment. Lockett's getting targets but not yards, and Pickens has been very nice. But I mean, you never feel out of the week when you have Patrick Mahomes, and it doesn't matter how slow of a
yeah,
start you have. You're always going to feel competitive because you've got him there.
yeah. I've been tossing around the idea of trading one of my running backs for Kelsey.
There you go. You
That's
you heard it
that's what
you
we
heard it
brought
here
up
first.
earlier. Yeah, so
Yeah, I wonder where Akers is going to end up.
yeah, I'm waiting. I thought maybe he goes to the Browns. They signed Hunt. I don't know who else, but I can't. I have to kind of hang on to him. They figured it out. Bryce
Sure.
Young's been disappointment. I want to drop him, but I dropped Fields last year and I got upset, so I haven't done
Mm-hmm.
that yet. But I might do that.
Love
But
that. Julia's going to be so happy.
yeah. And
Well,
then Dax, my
I
homies, who I'm very proud of. They didn't have a first round pick and
at
still
all.
have scored the most points and have a number one squad. So you got to hand it to them at that point.
Hot damn. Oh, Cousins. Dude, that guy just keeps doing it, doesn't he?
The Cousins has been huge. They got the huge week from Swift. Mike Evans had a huge week last week too. Stafford's been solid. If there's a team that you need to attack for a quarterback, it's this one because they got three legit ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they could use a little bit of running back help because Swift is not going to get those carries every week. Eckler's already
Yeah.
injured.
A little bit of receiver
So
help. Hopkins is not great, but Mike Evans has been overperforming from draft
yeah,
value. Like, oh man, yeah, it's a good looking team.
it's a good
It's
squad. It's a
it's
good
so
squad. You got to give it to
so
them.
far so far it's balanced each other out nicely. You've had these monster weeks from people, and I mean, anytime you get 4 touchdowns from your quarterback alongside what 180 yards from a running back, like,
Yep.
and then Devonta Smith had a big week too. I mean,
Yep.
you got
Yeah,
100 points between, if you get 100 points between three people, you're you're looking solid for the rest of the week, no matter what really happens. But it's a well drafted team. I was skeptical of Stafford, but he looks sharp. I mean, he's been slinging it out of pure necessity. Uh, and Purdy's a game manager, but he doesn't kill you in terms of, he always kind of hits his projection. And then Cousins, damn, God, it's just been guy's been a stud. And um, Olav, he hasn't gotten the points yet, but he's getting the volume. So a lot to be excited about. And Nico Collins, what the hell?
Yeah, I refuse to look at any Texans on my team. So
Mm-hmm.
but like yeah, he's been solid. They've been good. They've been good.
Yeah, I saw Stroud just got picked
Stafford
up.
being Stafford being relevant is the most important surprise because he was dead last year. But
Let's see.
you
Um, let's
got
see.
going on.
No, sorry, I'm just trying to see if Amir got back to me. I would love to complete a trade as we're recording.
Let's go to the
Maybe
weekly matchups. Let's do the
okay.
matchups this week.
We'll do the burn through. So, last week's recap. No, thank you. Oh, in my other league, I got an F grade, literally an F,
Those are lovely.
and I've scored the most points weeks one
Oh,
and
that's
two.
weird.
Okay, well, Battle of the Bottom Dwellers.
Let's
Um,
see. I mean, you look solid. I think you're due. So I'm gonna go with you just to the fact that I think you're due for a big week.
Fantasy is all about averages, right?
Yeah.
It's all about making decisions for the average and the aggregate. And God, if I hate putting Drake London in, but like, what can you do? Like, he's unsittable and he's unstartable. Like, at what point? But at some point, Josh Allen's going to have one of those freak out rushing games, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited about it. I'm not excited about going against the Cincinnati duo, but I give the
Monday night
I'd
too. You
still,
gotta wait. You gotta wait
yeah,
that out.
I'd
Yeah.
still give the edge to Amir here. I think just from top to bottom, he's just a little more consistent. Derek Carr really hasn't done anything, and it's not encouraging how much they've been running the ball for his stats and his volume. It seems like he's managing the game more, and he's not really being entrusted to go win it. I don't. Zay
I'm gonna
Flowers has
go
been a
with
nice
you
surprise.
just for the fact that I think you're due,
Okay,
personally.
I'm gonna lean towards Amir on this one. I'm hoping that Russell Wilson gets shut out, but you never like seeing Derrick Henry on the other side. Like, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
tell me
what his
about it.
load's been, but yeah. All right.
Tell me
So
about it.
I'm gonna give the nod to Amir. All right.
All right.
So then you versus Devi. Ooh. Um, Seems pretty cut and dry to me. Unless Devin makes the worthwhile trade. And beefs up. I mean, his receivers and running backs just are not panning out, and you have these really consistent producers. I mean, you can slot in Walker behind Jones, and then you have a couple other options that you can fill in your flex pretty
Yeah.
comfortably if Jones doesn't play. And Mahomes versus Chicago, like that's the remedy to cure all ills. Um, Man, just so hard to root for Deshaun Watson. He's on the perfect fantasy team because it's hard to root for Devin in anything.
Yeah, it's not. I was watching the game on Monday with Zach and Ben. I'm like, and they're like, it's just really hard to want to root for that guy and be like, yeah, man, good job.
Right?
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. I'm with you so far.
All right, next one.
You
Let's
and your trade
see.
negotiations over there.
You got a wheel and deal. You know better than most.
I mean, this is not a big spread on the matchup with Jordan. I mean, Jordan's going to have the better team on paper. I mean, that's without a doubt. I think if Pasha needs a game out of Fields to be competitive here, and he's
Yeah.
again, I hate to say it, but he's due. They're playing KC, so it could be KC's defense has been good.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a high scoring game, but scary. Yeah, he's not going to have Saquon, so he's going to have to figure something out with that.
Yeah, and obviously if Richardson doesn't play, that's not a good thing. But yeah, it's just so hard to trust those quarterbacks right now because they haven't done their usual thing, which is run the
Yeah.
football.
Yep.
And when you're banking on 70, 80 rushing yards to move the needle for your team from two guys, that's brutal.
Yeah. The
Feels like
quarterbacks are not running the ball. Most of the running quarterbacks aren't running, which is
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and it feels like a game that Burrow like really, really gets it right. And oh man, the receiver matchups aren't even close. Yeah, I would give this one to Jordan, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
always pulling for someone to beat someone who had 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, we do both want Jordan to lose, so hopefully Pasha comes through somehow.
God, please lose. I want him to be 1-2 so bad. Oh, this is good. This is a tasty little matchup.
Yeah, I think I like both of these teams. I'm not gonna. I'm not. I mean, it's gonna be hard to pick. I know it's a big spread again on the thing, but I'm not as worried about that, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
If Jose is healthy and gets Hall, Metcalf, and Brown to all play, I think it's a good matchup. I think he could easily take it down if it came to it.
Yeah,
Um,
the sneaky X factor is Brees Hall.
yeah, it
And
is.
if he gets close to 20 carries, it's going to be hard to beat that side if Hurts also does his thing. Two consistent pocket quarterbacks is nice to have, but yeah, I think this is just going to be a fun one. I would just kind of shade towards Wong's team in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair on paper, but I would not be surprised if they took it down, personally.
There you go. So vote for
That's
Wong, vote
fun.
for Josh.
The closest matchup we have.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I just don't think that Cousins can keep it up. So and that's been what's really been carrying, you know, Armin and Phil. So I'm gonna go with what's his face? Amir. But oh no, sorry.
David.
David, my bad. Sorry.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with David too. I think this is one of those weeks that his it all kind of comes together. I think that Pierce is gonna have a good week against Jacksonville. Like those divisional matchups are always driven and fueled by the running play. And I think
I
that
do
Pierce
think
is
Baker's gonna die though against Philly, so he may want to change his quarterback. But that's me.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's gonna be a comeback to earth moment. But
yeah, I agree.
I think this is gonna be one of those like 130, 127 matchups. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean towards Jared Goff and David's team.
I agree. I think that's gonna happen. I think that's gonna happen. I like to be a 3-0 by myself personally.
There you go.
Well,
So what would you say is your biggest surprise either in the NFL or in our fantasy season so far?
biggest surprise. I think we talked a little bit about the running back thing. It's been surprising. It's been hard to kind of gauge. In our league, I think Jordan's team, I was the most excited about to see about how he does it and what he does. So I think after this week, if he's 1-2, he kind of has to scramble, figure out what he's going to do because that just can't be. He has to be at least 2-1 after having that kind of that draft. So
does he have to trade a piece after if he goes 1-2?
yes. Let me ask you a question: will there be a first round pick traded before week 6?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say Devin hits the panic button and pulls out another bullet to save his season. And I can almost guarantee there will be a second rounder, but first rounder, everyone's kind of saw the reverberation and what that means. Yeah. But you're also seeing that Kirk Cousins is available in the 5th. I mean, you know that it's not like a death sentence. I mean, if Jordan were 2-0 and running away with the league right now,
yeah,
you'd probably think twice.
Yeah.
But I think that it's opened up the door to show people that no matter where you pick, everyone needs to stay healthy. And so I think there will be a first rounder traded. Yes.
Interesting. I'm excited for it. All right, my man. Always a pleasure. First three-man pod. I like it.
Three
Alina,
person pod. We border to sleep. Rightfully so. But let us know, fellas. Let us know what you want to hear about next time. If you want us to address like a little ask us anything or a little FAQ, we can dive into those. So don't hesitate to give us those topics that we can kind of burn through on the next one. We'll try to be a little more consistent, maybe every 2 weeks. We'll try to crank one out.
Yeah.
So we can revisit. But we love you, buddies. We hate you, buddies. And Nima, always a pleasure. Commish.
Always a pleasure. Signing off. Later, buddy. Later.
Bye.
Bye.